This is not a partisan video. It is not based on rumor, ideology, or anonymous claims. Every point you're about to hear is grounded in court rulings, jury verdicts, sworn testimony, public records, or Donald Trump's own documented words. Where allegations exist, they are identified as allegations. Where verdicts exist, they are identified as verdicts. Where cases were withdrawn or dismissed, that distinction is made clearly. This is about patterns, not politics. Patterns reveal behavior. Behavior reveals character. Segment 1. The core pattern. Across decades, Donald Trump's career follows a repeatable model. First, inflate value, image, and reputation. Second, extract wealth from workers, systems, or institutions. Third, avoid accountability through litigation, delay, or intimidation. Fourth, claim victimhood. Fifth, attack critics. And sixth, never apologize. This pattern appears in his business life, his charity, his personal conduct, and his presidency. When examining a lifetime of actions, these 6 steps repeat over and over, leaving a trail that is difficult to ignore. Segment 3. Tax evasion, secrecy, and burden shifting. For decades, Donald Trump refused to release his tax returns, breaking a modern presidential norm. He fought disclosure through the courts. When portions of his tax records were eventually revealed, they showed years in which he paid little or no federal income tax, relying heavily on reported losses and aggressive avoidance strategies. Legal does not mean ethical, especially when paired with rhetoric attacking others as cheaters. Suing the government while president. While serving as president, Trump sued the United States government over financial disputes. Any payments he sought would come from the taxpayers. Workers pay taxes. Trump extracted them. Federal court filings 2018 and 2020. Segment 4. Charity fraud and image laundering. Donald Trump repeatedly claimed he donated money to charity instead of paying himself. A New York court ruled otherwise. The Trump Foundation was found to be illegally operated. The court determined it functioned as a personal and political slush fund, not a legitimate charity. Charitable funds were used to pay Trump's business expenses, purchase personal items, and support political activity, which is illegal for a charitable organization. Trump was ordered to pay $2 million in damages, and the foundation was dissolved. This was not generosity, it was image control. The claim, "I donated it to charity," was not philanthropy, it was a strategy to avoid scrutiny, deflect criticism, and escape villainization while enriching himself. New York Attorney General ruling 2019. Segment 5. Exploiting immigrants while demonizing them. Donald Trump did not merely criticize immigration policy, he repeatedly portrayed immigrants themselves as threats, calling them criminals, invaders, and people stealing American jobs. That message became a central engine of his political rise. But while immigrants were being condemned in speeches and rallies, Trump's own businesses depended on them. For decades, his resorts, hotels, and golf courses employed immigrant workers in low-wage, labor-intensive roles: housekeeping, kitchens, landscaping, maintenance, and seasonal service jobs. His companies also used foreign worker visa programs to legally import labor when it suited business needs. Publicly, immigrants were framed as a danger to the country. Privately, immigrant labor helped sustain his properties and profits. That is not inconsistency. That is a system condemned the group benefit from their work. And the hypocrisy was not only economic, it was personal. Trump's own family story includes immigrants. Trump's grandfather, Friedrich Trump, was an immigrant. Trump married immigrants and had children with them. Immigrants were acceptable inside his home, acceptable inside his businesses, and acceptable when contributing to his success. One immigrant even occupied the most visible ceremonial role in the nation. Melania Trump, an immigrant, served as First Lady of the United States. So while supporters were warned that immigrants were stealing American jobs, immigrant workers remained part of Trump's workforce, and the immigrants stood behind him in the White House. Immigrants were not rejected when they generated profit, status, or personal connection. They were rejected when they served as political targets. Investigative labor reporting and federal visa records of 1990s and 2010 show this clearly. Segment 6. Draft dodging and weaponizing power. Donald Trump avoided military service during the Vietnam War. He received 5 draft deferments, including a medical deferment for alleged bone spurs. No treatment records were produced. He did not serve. No immediate family member served in wartime. Yet as president, Trump wrapped himself in military imagery and claimed unrivaled respect for the armed forces. Disparity towards John McCain. In 2015, Trump disparaged war hero John McCain, saying he's not a war hero. I like people who weren't captured. Family Leadership Summit, Iowa, July 2015. Misuse of military and federal law enforcement. Under Trump, federal forces were deployed into American cities without local consent. Peaceful protesters were forcibly cleared as Trump could stage a photo opportunity. Unmarked federal agents detained protesters. Immigration enforcement was used selectively and politically. Uniforms became props. Authority became theater. Washington, D.C. protests, June 2020. Segment 7, the Central Park 5. In 1989, 5 black and Latino teenagers were arrested in the Central Park jogger case. Before trial, Donald Trump took out full-page newspaper ads calling for the return of the death penalty. Years later, the teenagers were fully exonerated. Their convictions were vacated. The city admitted error. Donald Trump never apologized. He continued to assert their guilt even after innocence was proven. He demanded punishment without proof for the powerless and demanded immunity when scrutiny reached him. Central Park 5 exoneration, 2002. Segment 8. Sexual misconduct allegations and findings. A New York jury found Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse. He was also found liable for defamation for attacking the accuser after she came forward. Damages were awarded. This is not an allegation, it is a jury verdict. Hush money conviction. Donald Trump was criminally convicted on 34 felony counts for falsifying business records. The purpose of those falsifications was to conceal hush money payments during the 2016 election. The crime was not sex, the crime was concealment and fraud. Manhattan Criminal Court ruling 2023. The 13-year-old accuser. A civil lawsuit alleged rape at an Epstein-linked residence where the accuser was a minor. The case was withdrawn before trial. There was no verdict, no adjudication, no finding of innocence or fabrication. Withdrawn does not mean false. It means untested. Segment 9. Epstein records and concealment. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were socially connected. Photographs, public statements, and sworn testimony established proximity. Epstein recruited a minor at Trump's property. Trump later claimed he barely knew Epstein. The record contradicts that minimization. Distance, deny, attack the press, the pattern repeats. Court documents, photographs, and testimony 1990s through 2002. Segment 11, his own statements. Donald Trump's public record does not rely solely on court rulings, allegations, or testimony from others. It includes his own words. Access Hollywood tape 2005.
Grab him by the pussy. I can do anything.
When you're a star, they let you do it. Central Park 5 ads, 1989. Call for death penalty before trial. Election fraud claims, 2016 through 2020. Question legitimacy before and after votes, but only when he loses or expects to lose. Fifth Avenue remark, 2016. I could shoot someone and not lose supporters. Immigrant rhetoric, dehumanizing statements during campaign announcements. Praise for authoritarian leaders while attacking American democratic institutions. These are not interpretations, they are documented statements. When evaluating character and fitness for power, a leader's own words are primary evidence. Donald Trump has repeatedly shown grievance, hostility towards accountability, and admiration for unchecked authority. He is not being misquoted, he is documented. Segment 12, using black culture to launder image. Donald Trump showcased selective black rappers, athletes, and entertainers to claim he is not racist. Visibility is not justice. While promoting those images, Trump attacked black protesters, used racially inflammatory language, undermined voting protections, attempted to discredit the teachings of black history. Black culture became covered, while black political power and black history were attacked. Segment 13, retaliatory governance and grievance politics. Donald Trump did not lose the black vote narrowly. He lost it overwhelmingly, twice. Black voters were the most unified demographic bloc opposing him in national elections. Trump noticed that. Instead of asking why black voters rejected him, he escalated attacks, attacked black protest movements, framed black cities as failures, weakened voting rights protections, rolled back civil rights enforcement, attacked education about racism and slavery. This is not speculation, it is documented policy and rhetoric. Trump governs through grievance. Groups he believes support him are rewarded. Groups he believes oppose him are punished. What followed was not outreach, it was retaliation, packaged as law and order. Segment 14, warnings from within. This segment does not rely on political opponents, it relies on members of Donald Trump's own party. Before he secured the Republican nomination in 2016, prominent Republican leaders publicly warned about him. Mitt Romney, Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. Lindsey Graham, a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. Marco Rubio, a con artist. Ted Cruz, utterly immoral. Paul Ryan, about Trump's federal judge comments, the textbook definition of a racist comment. These were not Democratic attacks. These were Republican assessments. Some later endorsed him, some served in his administration, some became vocal defenders. Others who worked closely with him later broke publicly. Former Secretary of Defense James Mattis stated Trump sought to divide Americans rather than unite them. Former Attorney General William Barr rejected his claims of widespread election fraud. Former Vice President Mike Pence refused pressure to overturn certified election results. The criticism was recorded, the alignment was recorded, the breakaways were recorded, the pattern was not hidden, it was visible, even to those closest to power. Final synthesis, the pattern holds. Different arenas, same method. Charity became cover, immigrants became tools and scapegoats, the military became a prop, law enforcement became theater, black culture became camouflage, black political opposition became a target, accountability became persecution. This is not ideology, it is record. Fraud is not a moment, it is a method. When the same behaviors repeat across decades in business, charity, taxes, power, race, and personal conduct, they stop being coincidences. They become a pattern, and patterns tell the truth.